of it.
Oh my God. Hey, speaking of law stuff, are you guys following this Johnny Depp trial thing at all?
No.
Nope.
I don't know why I try.
I don't either.
Philistines, both of you. Uncultured. Don't know about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real therapists, real questions, and real problems, or whatever order I usually say those
He's
things
pretty damn
in.
close, actually.
That fellow over there, that's Dr. Jim Jobin.
And rising from the grave, it's Nick Tangeman!
And that's me, and now it's time for some Pod Therapy.
Nick, you're alive!
I'm back.
Oh, man. You cannot leave us unsupervised.
Yeah, apparently not.
Did you listen to the episode?
Yeah, and here's the thing.
I've just gotten so used to doing the intro now.
You're doing really good. Honestly, you only missed about half of it, but that was fine.
Yeah,
Nobody cares how to write into the show.
But here's the thing.
You're fine.
I mean, in fairness, I don't know how to.
That's true.
So I listened, and
You're already a step above Jim.
Yeah, I have not listened to that episode.
Yeah, you did. You screwed the pooch.
Yeah, a lot. We did it without scripts.
It was.
We did?
No way.
We
What did
had
we
no
mess up?
trivia.
No way. Yeah,
I don't recall us messing anything up.
Nah,
And-
flawless, I believe.
The way that you said it, though, you're like, well, Nick usually puts this stuff together, and he's not here, so I guess we just don't have it. No, you had it. I emailed it to you.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You emailed me a script?
It's not the script, but
Oh.
I told you which patrons are going to be thanked in this
Oh.
episode.
Yeah, I
I
didn't-
gave you all of that stuff.
I need to unblock your email. This is not helping.
So
I believe everyone will agree that you should have included me on that email.
Yeah.
yes. Well, now I know. That's
Because then I could at least say, Jim, you have an email.
You have an email.
yeah.
I'm aware of it somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
next time we'll know.
yes.
Like,
Well,
I
we
might
did
not
fine.
read it, but I would at least know that I could tell Jim
It happened.
that he could look in his inbox and it's there.
It happened. As did our Patreon. If you'd like to come join the pre-show hangout, it's patreon.com/therapy. And as a reminder, all of our patrons have access to our Discord, which is a live chat forum with a bunch of us and our fans and great little community. And we're on there. We're always on there. And we even do live video hangouts on there that are kind of spontaneous and unplanned. We do little coffee hangouts in the morning and chat with people and just hear about their lives. And we did a happy hour this week as I'm recording this on Friday. And we all hung out and shared our pets and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
I'm Jim Jobin.
That feels about right. That's mostly what I sound like. If you want to check out our Patreon this week, we had a lot of fun. We got gifts.
Yeah. Thank you to Anonymous. And thank you, Robert Brownie Jr. Mintz.
Who gave us some goodies.
Yes.
And we discussed home improvement and how to fix all sorts of plumbing fiascos that are outdoor in this case.
Well, the plumbing fiascos that got fixed, were the how-to was call people that
Call
can come and
people
do
that
it.
know better than you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the other
Actually, I
how-to,
think that was
which
the message
you
for
should
both
have. Yeah,
stories,
the
actually,
theme
now that I
was
think about it.
a cautionary tale where that didn't happen and a tale where that did. And it you know what? The theme, I think, is coming back to the central there.
Yeah.
And then I attempted to talk about the very important Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial because today, this is what I was going to tell you.
Today's episode is brought to you by...
We're just skipping through. We're just going to keep hopping. Today, the big scandal was this guy named Dr. Spiegel, a psychiatrist who's brought on as a mental health expert to diagnose Johnny Depp, though he has never met him. Nick, I'm going to send you the video of this guy's testimony because it's going to make your blood boil. He diagnosed Johnny
Sounds
Depp
fun.
with substance use disorder, having never assessed him. Does not talk about anything. Just goes off on, and one of his criteria, I shit you not, I'm not making this up. He goes through the SUD criteria,
Right.
and he says one of the things that makes him think Johnny probably has a cognitive deficit due to substance abuse is his portrayal of a pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wait, so his rationale is...
Yeah. He
He's an
cites
actor?
that movie, and he
He's
goes,
an actor.
oh, the cross-examination was fucking chef's kiss glorious. Because the lawyer's like, sir, are you familiar with the profession of acting? And the psychiatrist's like, no, I don't know anything about it. And he's like, are you aware that they rehearsed to pretend to be another person?
Also,
He's like,
Orson
no,
Welles
he looks
didn't-
drunk on that thing.
Orson Welles did not run an entire country.
It's hilarious. The guy's like, he looks like he's absolutely high out of his mind. And the the lawyer's like, yeah, the character kind of is. But it's
Whether you love or
unreal.
hate Johnny Depp as a person, like, he's not a
Unreal.
terrible actor.
Unreal. So the whole thing's just a fiasco. But then the Goldwater rule gets deeply discussed because obviously the guy's diagnosing Johnny, who he's never assessed, never evaluated. And the lawyer brings it up and is like, hey.
And presumably never had a conversation.
Never even talked to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes up. He's like, have you ever even had a conversation with Johnny Depp? The guy's like, no, but I've seen his movies.
Is this the first time you've been in the room with Johnny Depp?
Yes. And the lawyer's like, what experience do you have? He's like, I've seen his movies and I've watched some on-camera interviews. And he's like, and you're sitting here diagnosing this
Also,
guy?
something was really eating Gilbert Grape.
Let me tell you, it was bad. Yeah, he literally quotes things, and he's like, well, his cognitive delay in Pirates of the Caribbean was very pronounced. And the lawyer's like, are you aware of what acting is? Do you get that you're pretending to be another person? He's like, no.
He really was just, he was saying that Johnny Depp's acting was too good to be just acting?
He was saying that he probably had cognitive delays. And then the lawyer's just like looking at this guy in disbelief. It's hilarious, the takes of this lawyer just staring.
He also doesn't know what movie editing is.
Well, and then the lawyer goes, have you seen other movies of his? And he's like, I don't know. Yeah, I've seen some stuff. He goes, have you ever seen like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where he speaks very rapidly and the lines are like, he's a genius? Like, have you seen that? And he's like, no, what's that? And he's like, okay. It's horrible, but then it's also a train wreck of the Goldwater principle, where they deeply discuss
What's
this
the Goldwater
and debate
principle?
it. The bit about how
I know what it is. It's an audio podcast, and there are people listening to this conversation right now.
Mental health professionals should never assess or comment on public figures without having evaluated them personally. So the lawyer rips him to shreds.
Well, arguably, you shouldn't do that about anyone.
You shouldn't do it
haven't
anyway.
assessed.
And so they get an argument where, oh, God, you have to watch this cross-examination. The lawyer's like, is this a thing? And he reads the Goldwater rule. And the psychiatrist's like, yeah, that's the Goldwater rule. And he goes, okay. And he goes,
Oh my God.
what is this? Yeah, he goes, and the lawyer's like, so what is this?
You read that very eloquently,
The
sir.
psychiatrist is like, oh, that's an ethical rule. And he goes, okay, so like to be clear, if you do this, it's not ethical. And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, so was
Where
it
you
like
going with
ethical
this?
just now whenever you fucking said this guy has SUD? He's like, oh, well, I mean, if we just like
There's
applied that
no
all
way
the
this is
time,
real.
I like
it's all real.
I
It's
like the
all
idea
real.
that the psychiatrist did not see that line of questioning
Oh,
coming.
he
when
tries
the
to
lawyer
dodge it.
brought up the Goldwater
You
rule.
see this guy's brain turn on, and he's like, oh, well, I mean, forensic commentators.
It's more of a guideline.
Yes,
Yeah.
he says that exact phrase. He says it's more of a guideline, not rules. And the guy's like, you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
And you were aware that it's called the Goldwater rule.
Yeah, and
It's
he's
right
like,
there
oh,
in the title.
We don't know. He
What's
goes,
this
we don't know
guy's
if to
name?
follow this rule. Spiegel, Dr. Spiegel.
Do you know his first name?
No, it doesn't matter.
Doctor.
If you type in, he's
Oh,
the
Dr.
trending
David
thing.
Spiegel.
Yeah, type in Spiegel, Johnny Depp trial, and just watch the entire
How
thing.
about if you just Johnny Depp trial
It's the whole day.
psychiatrist?
It's the whole
Yeah.
day. He does an entire testimony, which is just the most cringy thing ever as a therapist. You're listening to this guy and going, what are you doing? And then, like, I don't mind a professional getting up there and being like, look, I'm going to be here as a professional. I'm going to tell you what SUD looks like. I'm going to talk about substance use disorder. I'm going to tell you what the criteria are, and then I'm done. And I'll let the jury sit here and do armchair therapy. If that's what needs to be done, I will be an educator. That would have been fine with me.
Okay.
He diagnoses Johnny with narcissistic personality disorder. Of course, right? Instantly. Narcissistic PD, substance use disorder. And then he throws in a whole new thing that he invented called violence against intimate partners, or intimate violence against
Perpetrator of intimate partner violence.
PIV or something like that, which definitely sounds like a sexually transmitted thing.
And he just made that up, or that
Well,
exists already?
it's a thing, but then the lawyer like
It
calls
also
him
doesn't
out and
sound
is
like
like,
something that he just made up.
well, yeah, the
either.
lawyer's like, can you tell me what that is again? He's like, well, it's not exactly a disorder. And so then this guy gets so skewered by
Which
this
is how you
lawyer.
get around the Goldwater rule.
Yeah.
By addressing people who
he tries
have
that.
a disorder and it's not
Yes,
a real thing.
he tries that. He goes, well, I mean, I didn't really break the rule because, I mean, none of these are real diagnoses. I'm saying he has traits. And the lawyer's like, okay, what about substance use? What is it called again? And the guy goes, oh, disorder. And he goes, What's different about that than like substance abuse? And the doc goes, oh, well, no, substance abuse anybody does, but substance use disorder, that's a diagnosis. The lawyer's like, to be clear, it's the thing you fucking just said you don't fucking do because it's unethical. And then he's like, that's more of a guideline. Nobody gives a shit what the Goldwater rule says. And he's like, it's in the code that you just said you follow. You told me it's a thing.
And what is...
Oh, it's glorious.
What is the repercussions for someone that breaks the Goldwater rule?
Apparently, you just get mocked on the internet.
I mean, you certainly get
nothing
that.
else is happening.
What is the worst case scenario? Like if you break the Goldwater,
Right.
you're practicing. You're practicing therapist.
It would be up to your
state
licensing
board.
board.
So you could be you could have your license revoked.
Or put on probation,
So-
or
okay.
they would
Your
worst,
ultimate
but
authority
worst
is
case,
a
like
board.
you're not going to prison or something.
No.
But like worst
No.
case is you're going to lose your license.
Well,
Yeah.
and you can now be sued for defamation, and they get, like a whole nother
Well,
trial
that's
could
easy.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they
the
can
easy
now
one.
sue him for defamation and
Sure.
say, well, there's a list of standards that you knowingly violated on live television in an unprofessional way,
Right.
causing damage. You diagnosed me on live TV.
One would
There's
assume that
consequences
Johnny
for
Depp's
that.
lawyers are already looking into that.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, but seriously,
I bet
though,
we're
what-
not the first ones to think of that.
No, they were just. I think the entire cross-examination was just preparing for that next trial.
Right. No, but
like his
think-
malpractice insurance was
think
dropping
about
him
this.
from membership as he was talking.
Think about this for a second. This must have been the greatest day for that lawyer. Like, this is their
Yeah.
My Cousin Vinny
Yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
It's really...
You can see it. And
No, the prosecution is wrong.
this thing was so
The case
beautiful.
does not hold water.
Yeah. He's just skewering this
You see,
dude.
there's a limited slip differential.
And then he gets him so
Are
unnerved.
you sure?
Yes,
Oh, I'm
sure. I'm positive. So this doc gets all pissed because he's getting wrecked. And so now he's like jumping out of his seat, being sassy and stuff. The judge tells him, you need to stop. Like, you just answer his questions.
Hey,
he starts asking the lawyer questions.
Settle down.
He's like, you can't handle the truth. You don't know. It was amazing.
Oh, my God.
you need me on that wall.
You want me on that wall. I eat breakfast 100 yards from 100
Somebody-
Cubans who want
Somebody
me
do
dead.
a Kickstarter to have Marissa Tomei remake A Few Good Men.
Yes. Oh, all the money. Give her
Yes.
all the money. Oh,
I want you to stand there and that... No, I'm not going to
yeah.
finish that.
You question the freedom I provide, and then you question the means that I provide it. Anyway,
Wow.
so you need to
Okay,
check
I'll
that
check
out.
it out.
Yeah,
I
that's
have been...
absolutely worth it.
I have
I-
been
I-
avoiding this like the plague.
Oh,
I
no,
sat
worth
the other
it.
day and watched a video. Actually, I think I talked about it on Ice Cream Social, and finally watched a video for the first time. It was maybe 10 minutes, and it was just going through how badly Amber Heard's legal team has botched
Oh yeah, it's
thing
pretty
after thing.
bad.
And because I really don't care about the trial
Sure.
at all.
It's just the shenanigans.
But
now.
watching a video, it was a legal expert. He was a law professor from somewhere, or maybe he was a
Sure.
lawyer himself. I don't remember who he was. But he was going through and just saying like, hey, watch this clip of Amber Heard's lawyers doing this. And then he'd come back and be like, all right.
That's
now, I
bad.
know that you know that there are things bad about it. I'm going to tell you exactly what was wrong with that.
Oh my god.
Here's the reasons that lawyer did something stupid.
Endless content this trial. Endless content. And apparently splashed over and over again into psychology. He's the third mental health expert witness they've called. There was therapists involved with handwritten notes. Oh god,
Wow.
the whole thing gets so exciting. But Spiegel, far and away, glorious. At one point the lawyer looks at him and goes, have you ever had a conversation with Johnny Depp? And he's like, no. And he's like, but you felt completely comfortable evaluating him for disorders. It's so funny. And then at one point, the guy goes, oh, well, Johnny Depp took a test. He took a mini MSE, mental status exam. It's a standard in the field. And the lawyer looks at him and goes, did you administer that test? He goes, no. He goes, do you know the score of that test? He goes, no. And he goes,
You just know that he took it.
you just know that he took it? And he goes, yeah. He goes, and you're drawing from those results, which you've not reviewed. And you're saying he has a cognitive impairment? And he goes, well, yeah, he got some memory questions wrong. And the lawyer goes, how many points are the memory questions worth? The guy goes, 3. He goes, out of how many total? The guy goes, 30. He goes, so for all you know, Johnny Depp got a 27 out of 30. And you're still up here just saying into this microphone
That's where you're going.
that he absolutely has a cognitive impairment. And he's like, well, yeah. And he goes, on the memory part, he scored badly. And you're saying he therefore has a learning disorder? The guy's like, yeah. And he goes, weren't you just lecturing us about how he has a drug problem? And he goes, is it possible he was high when he took the test? And the doc goes, yeah. In fact, he probably was. Lawyer's like, yeah, I guess we're done here. I don't know what else to say. Guy just unraveled his whole testimony.
That little back and forth that you just told us about.
Almost quotes.
Are you making that up at all?
No, it's quotes.
I feel like that
happened.
I feel like that is.
That all quoted.
Because it's televised and everything.
Go
I
watch
feel
it.
like that absolutely was that lawyer just saying like, we're going to sue this guy anyway.
Yeah, we're going to get this guy next.
Let me go ahead
We're gonna
and just put all of this on tape right
we're
now.
just going to get it on the record.
Yeah.
Because like now you've just said that he was definitely high when he took this test.
It's so
At
good.
that point, that lawyer doesn't even have to show up for that.
No, we're
lawsuit.
done here.
No,
yeah.
you can
It's
send
like,
a video.
Here's
Yeah.
some videos, and we're suing this guy
Here's the
for
part
I don't
where he
know
said this.
whatever you think is fair, Judge.
Yeah, the part where the judge or the lawyer goes, so to be clear, like the definition of ethical is not breaking this rule. The guy's like, yes. He's like, okay, so is this unethical? And he goes, well, like, yes, technically. The lawyer's like, wonderful.
Oh my God.
As someone who
Thank
lives,
you for coming.
As someone who lives in a technically unethical life, just in general,
Just generally.
yes,
Yes. You can see.
here's-
It's
Amber
like our
Heard's
friends
attorney.
over at opening arguments.
Yeah.
They go like, yes, you're technically correct.
Yes.
Which is the best kind of correct.
It's so good. And I'm sure as you see Amber Heard's attorneys just like holding their faces
Right.
in their hands.
Can we
as
please get this
man
guy off the stand?
Gets in a fight with the lawyer and the judge tells him to shut the fuck up.
So
Please leave.
Oh, it's
when you
so
first brought this up and started describing it, my initial thought was that this guy has lost all credibility in his field. But hearing the rest of this, I don't think he ever had
Oh, no,
credibility.
none.
I'll bet every
Yeah.
therapist or every psychologist that knows this guy
Doesn't respect
saw
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
and it's
no.
like,
Yeah.
we knew this
That's
was going to
Spiegel.
happen.
Yeah.
That's-
Like anybody who knew him already was like, thank God other people know about this now.
Yes.
The part
Yeah.
where they debate the Goldwater rule is the juiciest, most beautiful thing because the lawyer says, so like he reads the Goldwater rule out loud. And the Goldwater rule says, do not assess or diagnose public figures or anybody you have not evaluated unless it's court ordered. And so then the Dr. Spiegel, he goes, well, it's ridiculous though. It's a ridiculous rule because then that would nullify all people like me who do mental health expert testimony.
Correct.
Yes.
And the attorney goes, it says unless court ordered. So were you court ordered to do this? And he goes, no. And he goes, didn't you just testify that Johnny Depp refused to be evaluated by you? He goes, yeah. And he goes, isn't it true that actually the judge just didn't order it? And he goes, yeah. He goes, so maybe you're being unethical right now by just doing it fucking anyway? And you see this guy go, no, it's a stupid rule. And the attorney's like, that's fine that like you disagree with it. But nobody disagrees that it is the rule.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Like that's
I
where
think
that
it's
word
a
rule
stupid
comes
rule
from. Yeah, that's
you
fine.
have to roll 2 dice in Monopoly.
Yeah. But is it a rule?
But it's still the rule.
Yeah. This is like, this law needs to be overturned. Okay, but the part where you said this law, that's like the part we could have stopped at, right?
Right.
Where the part where you admitted to breaking
Like,
that thing that you
I'm
disagree
on the
with.
square right before Boardwalk, and I really want Boardwalk.
Yeah.
But if I roll both dice, there's no way I can roll a 1. So having to
Feel
roll
like
2
it's a
dice
dumb
is
rule.
stupid.
But guess what? Read the instructions, still the rules.
Yeah.
It is absolutely worth a watch. It is worth a watch. It's just the most cringy, horrible thing you'll ever see.
I mean, it seems to line up with the video that I watched about Amber Heard's lawyers
So
not
bad.
being good at what
Well,
they're
and-
doing.
So
and how,
bad.
How would their lawyers put this guy on the stand? Like
Right.
this is
Oh, his testimony is damning until it's cross-examined and
No,
you
I-
realize,
no,
he
but-
shouldn't have said any of those things.
yeah, but I mean that's kind of the responsibility of a lawyer, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh,
to
that's
like,
their job.
understand
Sure. Yeah.
how this person's going to be cross-examined.
Yeah. That
Like-
he's absolutely going to get shredded like beef.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Amber Heard's attorneys had any clue that he was going to like lose his shit up there and just get his lunch eaten. Like, I'm
Right.
sure they thought, they're going to punch holes in his credibility and fine, but we're just happy that the
Well, at that
the
point-
jury heard him. That's all they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they're probably just hoping to make an argument.
Well, what happened
And
is
even
the
if
dude
it's a
just
bad one.
murdered himself with words, and like the attorney did not do very much. Like if you watch it, I think what will shock you is how little the attorney said. Like the attorney just be like, okay, so wait a minute. Just like a second ago, you said it's an ethical rule? Yes. Rule? Yes. It's
sorry.
in the APA? Yes. You're a member? Yes. I'm a fellow. Okay. I think you mean were. It's like you're just knowingly violating this shit.
Can you say that louder into the microphone?
Into the microphone.
please?
Can you please admit that? Can I get that in writing? Yeah. Do we have to get it dated and checked here if the judge was here? Yeah, I think they just handed the judge the transcripts afterward and said, "Can you just like notarize this while we're
God.
So absolutely worth it." But anyway, we should probably do therapy questions.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome to Pod Therapy. We're having a great time. First question: mindfulness and engaging with life from Steve. Hello, gentlemen and Jim. Fuck you,
Boom.
Steve.
Stay down.
Fuck you, Steve.
I'm Jim Jobin.
Hello, gentlemen and Jim. I've been listening to the show for a few years. It's great, and I especially enjoy how you guys bring humor into almost every discussion. Yeah, it's hard to get us to be serious. That's the problem.
Dr. Spiegel has been spammed on Google reviews.
Oh, I saw that.
He's apparently gotten thousands of one-star reviews now.
Everybody shit on
Oh,
him.
wow.
Ulrika sent that to me, and I was like, see, this is why I don't testify in court. Like that and how horrible he is. But yeah, his practice is dead forever. Yeah, Steve writes, it's great. I love how you guys bring humor to the conversation. Life is too short not to have fun. You asked us to send in questions, so here's one. My question is surrounding mindfulness. I find that when I'm present, really in the moment, my life feels fuller and more colorful and more meaningful. However, I really struggled to keep that mindful stance for more than a few minutes, sometimes even for a few seconds. Then my mind is off again, and greater stress and anxiety returns. I've tried anchoring my mindfulness to breathing or in being aware of my body and physical surroundings. However, that usually only lasts a short while also. How can I bring into my life greater moments of peace by enabling mindfulness to last longer? Please don't tell me to get an app. Thanks, Steve. Well, there goes my answer, guys. I had one move
I love that our listeners have gotten so familiar with
with
us.
our bullshit that they're like, don't tell me to go to therapy and don't tell me to download an app.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And don't tell me to go to PodTherapyBaitShop.
What you're going to want to do is get dad advice.
Let me tell you about my book.
We haven't plugged that in a while.
Yeah, that's right. We got to circle back around.
Oh, hey, but
Jim
by
puts
the
it on
way-
every single episode.
Yes, I
description.
do. It is in the episode
Oh,
description.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
he does, doesn't he?
Instead of mental health resources, I put a link to that.
Oh, instead of the T-shirts that we've been selling to raise money for NAMI, you've been putting dad advice books.
I
on
have. Wow, I haven't even plugged that once in May.
there. I know.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
Don't
And-
worry, my book has sold a
And
copy
hey,
this
look,
month.
May's over.
Yay!
So,
when this episode's out,
Yeah.
May's over. Okay, thanks
Hope
for
we did
supporting
well.
everybody. We raised some money.
All right, Steve. So, the very first thing I would start with is when talking about mindfulness, especially like mindfulness meditation, all of that. One of the big philosophies behind this, and again, I'm not an expert in any way. My understanding of mindfulness, I went to like a 2-day training on it.
That's an expert.
No.
That's pretty damn.
yeah.
I'm impressed.
Okay. Cool.
It's 2 more days of training than I've got.
You're easy to impress.
I am. Fact. Do you not see me taking off my shirt?
yeah,
I'm in. I'm all in.
I've trained on it. I've read, but I've not implemented it.
Would you
Okay,
say
so I
you're a
wouldn't
yellow
say-
belt? Green belt? I mean, give us an understanding
White's the beginning, right?
of I think it is.
Do you know why they put them in that order?
No.
Because originally,
Is it a rainbow
no,
thing?
no. It gets darker because they would dye the same belt to get a different color.
Oh.
That's why black is the last one.
Oh, so they just pick progressively darker colors while keeping it light enough that the next color could replace it.
Yes.
Oh, damn, that's super smart.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Wow. Hmm.
David Spiegel currently, as of this recording, has a 1.5 out of 5-star rating on WebMD.
That is honestly higher than I thought it was going to be. The 0.5 is impressive.
Yeah.
I think his mom probably gave him a 2. She's bringing that
and
average
the
up.
reviews are hilarious.
Oh, you guys need to watch this video. I'm telling you, worth every minute.
There is one that says he showed up looking like he had just rolled out of bed. I offered him a comb. He threw a bottle at me and severed the tip of my finger. 1 star.
These are great.
All right, Steve. Sorry,
yeah.
sorry, Steve.
Sorry, there's a question about
you
mindfulness.
still there?
What was
Still
that
there?
about not being able to concentrate long enough to have peace?
No. So one of the things with mindfulness meditation.
Sorry, Steve. I found something that's funny.
One of the things with mindfulness meditation is this this philosophy of removing meaning behind something, and things are just what they are, and it doesn't mean it's not good, it's not bad, it just is, right? And one of the ways that we talk about that is when we're talking about your ability to maintain focus. So when I was at this training, we would go through all of these steps of mindfulness meditation. So we'd have to practice mindfulness meditation.
Okay.
And one of the things that the instructor was really good about explaining to us is your mind is going to wander, but we treat that just as we would treat anything else.
Right.
So like if you have this, so here's the example that we talked about in mindfulness meditation.
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
Removing the thought of like, oh my God, this is bad, or even if it's not a thought of bad, but it's something like, oh, this is scary. Well, why is it scary? It's scary because you associate something bad with it.
Right.
So he used the example of like me, if I just had a thought of wanting to punch my boss in the face.
Right.
Okay. To instead of saying like, oh my God, that's terrible. I shouldn't, why? I'm a nonviolent person. Why did I have this thought? Oh, this is terrible. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting meaning behind all of it.
Right.
And it's the meaning behind that that's causing all the stress and anxiety.
Yeah. They want emotional detachment.
Yes. Complete emotional detachment. So instead of having that, just be curious about it. Like I had this thought. Oh, that was interesting. That's it.
Right.
I don't need to delve into it any further. I don't need to feel good about it. I don't need to feel bad about it. It just was. Right. And it's that's kind of the thing that you practice. You do the same thing when it talks about how long you're able to stay in that mindfulness state. So if you're talking about mindfulness and you're saying like, I love it and I'm great when I'm in that flow and that mindfulness and life feels fuller and more colorful, more meaningful, but it only lasts for a few seconds. Okay, that's fine. We're going to remove meaning from that too, right? So it only lasts for a few seconds. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just is.
This is all things Laura said to you, right?
So you just get back into that state. Okay, so, oh, my mind slipped. Okay, that's neither good nor bad.
Right.
I'm just going to get back into it.
There's no judgment.
Yeah, and so you just keep practicing that. And by the removal of that judgment, then you're able to get back into it more easily.
Yeah.
You get better at it, essentially.
Yeah. So I think that's absolutely true. One thing I would add to that, Steve, when you talk about mindfulness being your respite from stress and anxiety, good, but mindfulness is meant to be a temporary thing. It's just not a standing order. It's not a way you can live your life. It's not some kind of like, transnormal lobotomy that you're able to achieve and like you have some kind of peace and serenity. It's meant to be sort of a temporary state of thinking that is a counteraction to these value judgments that are provocative to us. So we want people to have that trick in their toolbox.
It's almost like something you practice but never perfect.
Yes. Yeah, it's a stance. You're not going to be in there forever. It's a posture that you can stand in for a little while to rest your muscles. And then, you're going to go back to stress and anxiety. Now, if you have anxiety, as you mentioned in the letter, I want you to have more tools in your toolkit, right? So that's where I want you to have more tools like grounding techniques, as you mentioned, CBT skills, which is really important, being able to critically evaluate the anxious thought to reveal the cognitive distortion and dismantle it. So the Worry and Anxiety Workbook by Dr. Beck is a great place to start for that, to increase your toolkit. Notice I have not told you to download an app, but rather to go get a book. I think that would be more useful to you.
It's a paper app.
It's yeah, there you go. We should start referring to books like that. It's like a paper website. Yes, that is now the way I'm going to refer to mine. So all good ideas, man. I love that you're practicing it. When you're trying to get to mindfulness and peace, just have a sensible understanding of how long it's going to last. I just don't see it as an indefinite thing or something that's going to even last minutes, honestly. I think it's very brief. I think it's a way to kind of stop or interfere with a spiral, or giving yourself kind of more awareness of emotional self and acceptance of emotional self rather than bracing for or running from those feelings. We want you to passively acknowledge them as if they are in the room with you. So there's a lot of great writing on this if you do want to get a book. There is a book I will tongue-in-cheek recommend. This book, I don't know how. All right, I'm going to say it just because I think it's out there, and why not? It's called The Power of Now by whoever the hell. What is it? Thich Nhat Hanh or whatever? I don't even remember.
That's
this guy's name. That might even be a martial arts actor.
Kabat-Zinn?
No.
How,
The Power of Now is by... he has a weird name. He also wrote This New Earth or The New Earth or something like that. It's like a really... Anyway, I've read it. It's very culty.
Eckhart Tolle?
Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, that's it. Or Tolle. It's very culty, very self-aggrandizing. Eckhart really wants and became an Oprah guru. That was the whole point of the book, and that's how he got famous. A solid 70% of this thing is just garbage. But 30% of it is some really thoughtful languaging of how to tap into mindfulness and self-acceptance. And if you can get through all the weird culty stuff, it's useful. So I think you could skip that with just one of those paper websites. I think that probably has a good idea too.
There was a book that, damn it, I should have brought it with me. The book that I have.
It's called the Bible, Nick.
Well, that's no help. I should have just not said what I just said. And
We're going to take a
been
quick
just
break.
as helpful as what I did
And
say.
when we come back, we're going to discuss fear of a person's mother developing Alzheimer's. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by, I think, let's go with Judy Snyder, Mason Miller, Leon Kassab, Newstick, Dirty B, Sarah Smith, and BP.
Good to have you back, Danchman. Way to pilot the show.
No, it's because...
Pull us back onto the road, baby.
No, it's because I gave you a
We
list
were lost
last
without
week,
you, bud.
and you didn't use it.
Use
So
your own
now I don't
fucking
know
list
where we're
then. You
at.
blame it on me.
I'm Jim Jolden.
No, goddammit, he's the one that's wrong.
This week's trivia theme in honor of our therapy producers is flags.
Oh,
Okay,
True.
this
Yeah,
is
there you go.
not multiple choice.
oh,
You just got to know it.
All right.
blue.
What is the only country in the world that does not have red, white, or blue on its flag?
Oh my gosh.
If you'd like to become a therapy producer, go to patreon.com/therapy.
Oh wow, buddy. Jeez.
All right. Well, let's start with USA.
Okay.
They do.
Okay, that's one off.
All right.
What do we got?
293 to go.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
let's go to Canada.
Yeah. That one's
That's red and white.
That's on there. Yeah.
They've got both of those.
I feel
so
like
they're
the
out.
England one and anything affiliated with England is off the board.
Yep.
Because that damn Jolly Roger thing they
Yep.
got. That's
yeah,
gonna,
Australia, they've got the red, white, and
that's
blue in
gonna
there.
get you. I feel like Brazil has
not
yellow.
Jolly Roger, by the way. It's Union Jack.
No,
Whatever.
to
I'm
clarify,
probably only partially wrong.
this means no red, no white,
Correct.
and no blue.
See, the Brazil one has yellow and green.
Uh-huh.
I feel like that's a strong candidate.
Okay.
I remember this from FIFA World Cup, where the Brazil team and Pele was what's up. This is
Good.
from my old Sega Genesis days. So that's the only reason I even know the Brazilian flag. Ooh, and Blanca from Street Fighter 2. You guys remember Blanca, the electric green guy? He fights out of Brazil. That's
Okay.
Brazil.
So you want to go with Brazil?
Yeah, it's like yellow and green. That feels
Okay.
right.
All right. I'm not going to go with Brazil because there's definitely blue in there as well.
That's green.
And blue.
That's yellow.
Let's see. Man, I sure don't know.
What other country even has a flag?
Egypt.
It's probably solid.
Okay.
Oh, there's like one that's just green, and you're right. It's over there. It's
no,
Egypt.
Saudi Arabia is what you're thinking, and that has white in it.
Yeah.
Man, the white gets you.
Oh, the white sneaks up on you.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be there. Jesus.
The answer, once I say this, you guys are going to be like, oh, yeah.
Oh shit! It's Mexico.
No, it's not Mexico. Calm the fuck down.
Whatever. What is it then?
That's red, white, and green is Mexico.
Man, this green thing is really busted my balls.
Jamaica.
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool
Yeah, yeah.
Runnings should have
Yeah,
taught
black-
us that.
Black and green.
That's
Black,
on
yellow,
us.
and green.
Yep.
Damn
Yep.
you Jamaicans. First you take our Olympics.
There you go.
And you take all the colors. That's a good one.
Now I'm curious what Egypt's flag looks like.
I know. These are the questions that will plague me.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the Brazil one didn't work out. Oh,
there's
does it have like a
definitely blue in
blue
that.
eyeball on it? It does.
It's like a globe, yeah.
Yeah, it's an eyeball. It has a blue
Okay.
eyeball in
It's
the middle.
a blue eyeball.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, it's
now.
definitely an eyeball.
Yeah.
Oh, Egypt is red, white, and then black. And then it's got
Oh.
that little emblem. There's
Emblem.
something in the middle.
Yeah, it's a little man riding a horse with a polo stick. I've seen that.
That's
emblem.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Brazil flag.
Oh,
with just
yeah.
a giant sphere of blue in the middle.
It's an
And
eyeball.
white, by the
And
way.
white.
Yeah, shit. Looked like it was yellow. The yellow and green I was right on. It's definitely an eyeball, though. But we can all agree with that, right? Like, the whole design is clearly an eyeball. There's even an eyelid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Egypt only has one of the 3 colors that was in there. It only has the white.
Yeah.
That's the only
Egypt,
one.
no, it's got red.
You were 2/3 right.
Oh, that's right. Red was also one
Yeah.
of the colors. All right.
Maybe
Never mind.
1/3 correct, I feel. We'll give him a third of a point.
I
Feels
was
right.
just thinking white and blue for some reason.
I liked it. All right. We got a good one here. This is from Tay. Dear Pod Therapy, strap in. I think my mother, who is 55 years old, is likely to get Alzheimer's in the next decade. I think it's possible she's showing symptoms already. How do you want me to format that?
We'll format it this way. Thank you, Tay. I had to shorten this quite a bit.
Yeah, I remember
So
this being a long one.
I've got abbreviated summaries here that'll kind of get us caught up.
Okay, cool. All right.
So you can just read it as it is.
Got it. So a couple of abbreviated summaries of just data that Tay had communicated in the letter. There is a family history of Alzheimer's. Multiple family members have it. And mom might be showing symptoms already, including frequent pausing when talking, slurring terms, substituting the phrase kinda right.
No. This is not the phrase, but substituting words that kind of fit
Oh, okay.
for what she's trying to say, but aren't
I see.
exactly what she's trying to
Got
say.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Adjacent words, but not
Right,
the word.
right.
Got it. Okay. So just, word loss.
Yeah.
And dad has noticed this too. All right. So now I'll continue the letter. Quick context. My parents have been married for over 30 years. They really effing love each other. It's weird that now I'm saying effing when I've dropped fuck bombs all day long. Never mind.
I've always thought that about you.
Yeah,
I don't know why you
I
do that.
I think I try to clean up the letters to make the letter writer more protected, but they wrote anyway. They really fucking love each other. I know grown children of still married parents commonly romanticize the relationship, but seriously, I promise, they really fucking love each other. They are 100% each other's best friend. My dad and I have talked, and of course, we were both worried about Alzheimer's. Dad told me he didn't want to bring it up. He wanted to wait for her to do so, or for the issue to get so bad bringing it up was unavoidable. I trusted his judgment on that. I still trust his judgment on all matters related to her, actually, which relates to another issue I'll get to shortly. A teaser. Are you on the edge of your seat? Are you? Yeah? I bet you are. This is all in the letter, by the way. I did not improv any of that. The speech is the main thing. However, over the past year or two, she's also become increasingly anxious. Her recent retirement took away the primary reason for her to socialize. She has been able to go days, if not weeks, without seeing anyone other than my dad. The hopeful thing about this antisocial behavior is that it didn't seem to have depressive effects. On the contrary, retirement and subsequent hermithood evidently agreed with her. She loves cooking, and she keeps herself busy with new recipes, as well as gardening and other outdoor activities. My dad is worried by how much she worries. She won't drive at night anymore, though her vision is fine. She reacts to semi-stressful but typical life situations, not getting a pension check on time, running late to an appointment, with an out-of-proportion amount of frustration and fretting. Moreover, I fear she's becoming more irritable, though that could be my brain finding a symptom where there is none. So, a month ago, my mom had an appointment with her GP. She brought my dad with her, and while I don't know everything they discussed, I know the language issues, the anxiety, and my mother's fear of Alzheimer's were all addressed. I'm not sure precisely what the doctor said, but it put my mother at ease. My dad later told me that he thinks the doctor might have been a tad bit too dismissive of the Alzheimer's possibility, but he was okay with this. I know that might sound rather laissez-faire, but please remember, my parents went through the Alzheimer's diagnosis and progression with my grandmother. I'm certain my mother has discussed her if the worst happens wishes with my dad. If he suspects she's showing signs and he doesn't want to point them out to her, I will follow his lead on that. My father's a very smart man who knows my mother better than anyone else. Back to the discussion with the doctor. In regards to my mother's recent struggles and her general concern about developing Alzheimer's, the doctor gave her anti-anxiety meds, pushed her to be more active, and most importantly, to try new things. They've moved into a complex intended for people aged 55 and over. I think it will be a very good fit for my mother. And it is here, oh therapists of the churn, and also Jacob, where we finally arrive at the questions and requests I have for you. There are two main points I want to ask about, both operating under the assumption I, rightly or wrongly, have been operating under for a while now, which is that my mother will develop Alzheimer's relatively soon. Number 1. Whatever thoughts and advice you may have for the children of Alzheimer's patients, please share it. My brother and I have the same mother, but we also have an older sister from my dad's previous relationship, and though the situation wouldn't be the same for her, she loves my mom and will also be greatly affected if the diagnosis comes. How do we handle the situation? Also, as of 2 months ago, I live in Scotland, and I'll probably be in Europe for at least the next few years. If my mother is diagnosed with Alzheimer's, what can I do to support her, my dad, and my siblings, despite my living internationally? How do I cope with the guilt I'll undoubtedly feel for not being with my mom? Number 2, I saw what Alzheimer's did to my grandmother. I also saw what it did to my mother. Grandmother's Alzheimer's and how it affected mom. I'm still seeing what it does to my sister, whose maternal grandmother has the disease. So, the worry I feel is for my father. As I said, mom is his best friend. She is his partner, his confidant, his constant, and I literally cannot imagine what his life will become if she loses her ability to be those things. My dad's a healthy, active 63-year-old. Looking at his family history and lifestyle, I have no trouble believing he could live into his 80s or even his 90s with faculties intact. But if he has to watch my mother slowly die from Alzheimer's, if he has to spend 5 years visiting a shell of her in a nursing home, like my mother did with my grandmother, where does he find joy in all that? How? If the worst happens, how can I help my dad continue to live a meaningful, fulfilling life? Okay, that's it. Sorry for the absurdly long email, guys. Sorry about the content too, but frankly, you guys have been talking about some heavy shit lately. I thought I'd lighten the mood with a little Alzheimer's and death talk.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. On a final, bizarrely different note, I'm currently in the process of completing final papers for the first half of my postgraduate degree, and I've been listening to old episodes of the podcast as I work. Did you know Jim made a Nick dating a Nazi reference as early as episode 48? Guess he knew all along. Love you guys. Tay, pronouns are she and her.
So the questions are how to deal with this.
Yes.
Not what to do right now.
How to cope.
Yeah.
And then I'm worried about my father, and basically I think just sharing that and asking for any advice.
So this was years ago. I want to say that I was probably in graduate school when I read the story in the New York Times, and it was about Alzheimer's in Vietnam War vets. And the interesting thing about this was that these veterans displayed no symptoms of PTSD their entire life until the onset of Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
And then as it progressed, their PTSD symptoms got worse.
Interesting.
And the theory behind this, and keep in mind, this was a long time ago. This is 16, 17 years ago that I read this, so I could be misremembering it. But to the best of my knowledge, recalling this, the theory at the time was that they believed that the parts of the brain that were kind of keeping the PTSD symptoms kind of locked in.
Well, they're all memory adjacent.
Were deteriorating.
Oh, wow.
And therefore all of this stuff was resurfacing.
Interesting.
So, I mean, to hear that like somebody's anxiety symptoms would get worse if Alzheimer's progresses.
Sure.
Kind of fits, kind of makes sense in that sense. So, I mean, one thing I'll say, one thing that I really like is I like the relationship that you have with your dad and the fact that you trust him so much with this and you're willing to let him take the lead and support him.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that right there, I think really says a lot. And that's, I commend you on that. And I would say stick with that because this is a situation where I think the infighting within the family can really get out of control because you're going to want to do something for your mom. He may want to do something else, but the fact that you're on the same page and that you're like, okay, he knows her best. I trust him and I'm going to follow whatever lead he has. I think that's great. So I'd just start with that.
I think your father actually has some of your questions answers in the way he's approaching this. He's already lived through this. He's had a front row seat when his mother-in-law developed this. It's been an eventuality that he and his wife have discussed. It's a family reality. He's very aware. And I want you to notice how he seems to be doing what makes sense according to the problem. Alzheimer's is a slow-moving catastrophe. It's this thing that you can see coming for a long time. And it has this degenerative, slow pace to it that quickens over time. And for right now, based on the medications that we seem to have available in the treatments, it's uncurable. It continues to be inevitable, though it's manageable and there's ways to slow it. And that's cutting-edge stuff that's coming out right now. But I want you to notice how your father's handling this. I think that, and I don't know, obviously, his thoughts, but if I had to channel him and kind of guess at some of this, he appears to stay calm throughout all this because there's a sense of, I can't fix any of this. Bringing these symptoms to her attention to frighten her or to cause us all to stare at this problem serves no practical purpose. She should treat the things she can treat. The doctor's a little bit dismissive of the Alzheimer's, and Dad doesn't really do much about it. You think, well, gosh, Dad, what could we... Well, Dad's probably looking around going, what can I do? What is clanging a bunch of pots and pans and getting everybody's attention on this really going to achieve? We're going to treat this as it progresses. There is not a lot we can do about it. The doctor's orders are probably the best thing. We're going to do new things. We're going to try to learn a new language. We're going to do Sudoku. We're going to try to activate her brain as much as we organically can. But there isn't a special pill for this. There's not a lot of treatment. And so presently, ignoring it, I'm guessing, I'm not offering anybody Alzheimer's medical advice here, but I'm guessing that Dad is looking at this and saying, presently, not drawing attention to it and trying to focus on the things we can attend to is really the best use of our energy. And there's no reason to cause fear or fretting about this prematurely if it's an inevitability. And he's probably looking at it from that angle of enjoy every good day that you still have. And don't necessarily sacrifice the present good days worrying about the future bad days. Because what you're actually doing is losing the potency of the present. Mm-hmm. You're losing all these good days because now you're suffering prematurely. And I think when you've been through great tragedy, as apparently your father has had a front row seat of, that is a piece of wisdom that a lot of people understand. Whenever you've had a friend or family member die of something like cancer, and like when my friend Josh died, Josh died in 2018. He was my best friend. You and I were working together back then when this happened. And Josh died of pancreatic cancer. When Josh was diagnosed with it, we were young men. I think we were in our 20s. And I remember being there the day that he was diagnosed with it. And it's a death sentence. And the doctors told us that. Here we were, two men in our mid to late 20s learning about this. And they told Josh, you have pancreatic cancer. This has a 0% survivability rate. You will die. And all we're going to be able to do now is try to slow it. And they did a very difficult surgery called a Whipple, very dangerous, changed what was left of his life. And then he did every round of chemo, treated it, got sober during that time. We got him into rehab. And it was inevitable. And I remember how broken I was. I'm a very emotional man. And Josh was quite stoic. Apparently, I'm into dudes like that. I don't know why. So he was quite stoic. And here he was grappling with his death. And I had my head on his hospital bed, and I was weeping inconsolably. And my friend who just discovered who had pancreatic cancer put his hand on my shoulder and was saying, Jimmy, it's going to be okay. And I was like, no, it's not. I'm losing you. You're going to die. And he said, yes, and it's going to be okay. And it was amazing the wisdom he had in that horrible moment. And in the years that followed, one of the lessons he taught me as he coped with this very scary thing was he would just do the next right thing. I would talk to him and he'd be in his truck driving to get a chemo treatment. And he wouldn't even talk about how bad it was and how difficult it was and how painful it was and how he's losing all of his hair and all the terrible things he was going through. And he would just talk about like NCAA finals. And he liked Kentucky. And he would just want to talk about Kentucky. And I would be sitting there choking back tears talking about Kentucky, wanting to talk about the inevitability of death and asking him if he thinks about it and if he's scared to die. And he would stop me sometimes and be like, Jimmy, I'm going to die. That's going to happen. But today, Kentucky's in the finals, man. That's pretty exciting. I want to talk about that. And he would constantly bring me to the present and help me to understand, do not steal any of his good days preparing for his bad days. He knew, as most cancer patients do, that they're going to have a last good day. And then the rest is going to happen.
Yeah.
But when they face that inevitability, the wisdom becomes clear. Let's live 100% of my good days in the now. And that might be the wisdom that your father's bringing to this, and it might be the answer to some of what you're anxious about, or the way that you should posture yourself looking at this.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, no one wants to hear that, like, oh, you're having a great day? Cool. Can we talk about this?
Let's talk about the
something that's
inevitability
going
of
to
something
really
horrible.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's some pretty good advice.
Yeah, and I think your father, your second question is a lot of worry about your dad. And I think your father, in a sense, this is not his first rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, he's had a front row seat to this. And I think your dad is going to go through this his own way. I think a lot of parents hide their own suffering from their kids. And a lot of kids look at that and think, oh my God, that's so heroic. It's so beautiful. I wish my father would entrust his pain to me. And I'll tell you, as a practicing father, it's selfish. I get joy from my kids being worry-free and happy in life. I want to take on burdens so that they continue to be happy and live their lives. That brings me great joy. It's a very selfish thing to spare you all that pain and do it myself. I'll take out the problems. I'll deal with it because I want you to live and be international. And you say, well, I have this guilt of like being in another country, and what if dad needs my support? Listen, you're going to play it by ear, friend. You're going to get to those days. If they come, we don't even know if this is a definite diagnosis, but if those days come, future you is going to know what to do. She's going to have sincere talks with family members. There's going to be a sense of shared responsibility. You and your siblings are going to discuss what to do, and you've got to trust future you is going to handle that. That is not present you's business. You should not be planning for that. You should be living in the now.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the best ways that you can be supportive is to ask somebody, how can I be supportive?
That's it.
And let them assign you a role.
They'll tell you what they want you to do. And if they don't want to talk about it, that's not ignoring something. In many ways, it's wisdom, especially with problems of this nature that may have an inevitability to them and that you've just got to cope with, and then you just have all your good days. And you've got to trust your father to captain the team down the road. He's already practicing good wisdom. If he needs your help or your siblings' help down the road, he will request it, and he will give you a job to do.
Last bit that I've got, if you haven't already, you probably already have, go to alz.org. If you click, there is a link for support. Support people? Caregivers.
Caregivers.
Yeah, click on that, and there's a whole bunch of resources available. So some really good information here. If you haven't already checked it out, I definitely encourage you to.
Yeah. Be in the present, though, Tay. Enjoy these present memories. Make it a priority for yourself to the extent that you can. That doesn't mean come back to America. That doesn't mean end your career. It means just make it a priority to encounter as many good days with this family member as you can, making it clear to your dad that you're here for them, you're supportive, you want to be helpful, and then trusting his judgment to call upon you and your siblings when it's time. You can't brace for this. There is no preparing a shield and sword to take on this problem. You can educate yourself a little, but at some point that becomes unhelpful. That can become detrimental to dwell too much. If I spent too many days dwelling upon what I was going to say at Josh's funeral, I'd forget to call him and talk about sports in the now.
Mm-hmm.
I'd forget to just log on and play Halo with him, right? I needed to just be present for him, and that was the greatest gift I could give Josh, was just being present in the days he was alive with me, and then letting future Jim deal with what was going to happen inevitably in those darker days, which we did. And I know that right now you have a lot of dread and a lot of fear. I respect that. I'm not here to minimize it. But I will tell you, you and your people are going to get through this. As horrible as it is, and many families have been down this road, we have to remember, we humans find a way. We survive, we adapt, we join together. It will be a dark moment in that future, and your family will go through this together, and you will come out the other side. Changed people, yes, but you will survive it, and it's going to be okay.
I think a lot of people, when preparing for tragedy, think that if I prepare for it, that will make the tragedy easier to bear.
Never.
And it doesn't work out that way. It's gonna suck. So may as well enjoy the time right now.
Yeah. And there's wisdom to that, actually. And it's just exactly what Josh said to me the day we got that diagnosis. And he just put his hand on my shoulder and he said, Jimmy, everything's going to be okay. And now I know what he meant. He didn't mean,
Mhm.
don't worry, they're going to find a cure. He had already accepted his death the second he got that diagnosis.
Mhm.
Is
he
there
was telling
anything
me
you
it was
can
gonna be
do
okay.
about it right now?
Right.
If the answer is no, then the healthiest and best thing you can do for everyone, including yourself, is to accept the answer is no
Right.
and just do your thing.
Mhm.
And that's real wisdom. That is a real wisdom thing to realize whenever it's your best work is doing nothing or just being present. That takes real wisdom to achieve. It is
Oh,
not an easy thing.
And real quick, the part, because you guys have talked about all this stuff. I want to talk about the part of you being overseas.
Oh yeah.
If you're overseas, when if and when any kind of diagnosis comes out or any kind of greater symptoms start to present or anything like that, you're going to feel terrible.
Right.
You're going to feel terrible. You're going to feel removed. You're going to feel like you cannot help, and it may be that you just say like, look, I gotta get back,
Right.
and that's fine.
Future you will know
Whatever
what to do.
whatever that is.
Yep.
When my mom was first diagnosed with cancer, I got a job offer. I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks later, to go on an international cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, can't do that.
Right.
Yep.
No.
Want to be close.
Right.
I don't want to have to take a helicopter to an international airport in
Right.
Madrid and have to do all of the things. Like, nope, I want to be on the same continent. It's still a plane ride away, but it's just a plane ride away.
Right.
It's just get to an airport and go.
And you're just a plane ride away from where you are.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you have to remember.
So I
If
mean,
you can
whatever.
posture yourself, do that, but don't over prepare.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you can't do anything if you can't do anything about it, you can't do anything about it.
That's it.
And it's helpless, and it's that helpless feeling, and it sucks.
It does.
And that's just what it is.
It is. And, stay in the now, writer. Kate, we don't have the diagnosis yet. Enjoy the good days. Trust your father's judgment.
Yep.
He knows what to do. Support, be there, checking in on people, loving on people, asking in advance, if and when these days come, do you already have an understanding of how I can be helpful to you or what you would like? And they may say, no, I'm really trying not to get too far ahead of the now. And then say, great.
Okay.
If that ever changes, I am all ears. I am not going to bug you about this now.
Yep.
I'm going to allow you to enjoy the now, garden, go travel with mom, go see movies,
No.
be present, and
'Cause
deal
it's
with
not-
the inevitability
It's
when
not
it
going to
comes.
be something where it's just like, oh, if you add turmeric to your diet,
Right.
this is going to get fixed.
There's not going to be one weird trick.
No.
So you've got to just kind of take it through the paces. And Tay, it's not an easy thing. I know
Although
you're
that being
going
said,
through a lot.
turmeric is delicious.
What is that?
It's a spice.
Is it like dill?
No,
Is dill not a
It's like
spice?
it's like turmeric.
no, it's
Isn't that what he
orange.
said? It's orange?
Yeah.
Is it citrus?
No, it's a spice.
It's in oranges?
No,
It's the color orange.
correct.
Okay, in my defense, that is difficult, isn't it? It's difficult.
I don't
if
feel like-
apples were called reds,
I don't
that'd
feel like
be
anyone
weird.
else thought that I was referring to an orange.
Oh, I think they did. I think people who know what turmeric is probably
Moving on.
were not. The point is, Laura was a Nazi way before she was a Nazi. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about feeling lonely and isolated. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Judy Schneider, Mason Miller, Leon Kassab, Newstick, Dirty B, Sarah Smith, and DP. All right, flags.
Oh, damn it! More flags.
More
Yeah.
flags. Which?
Redemption.
Did you come up with these, or did somebody else send this one in?
No, this is me.
The good ones are the ones Nick doesn't write.
Which U.S. state is the only state that does not have a rectangular flag?
Oh, jeez. What?
A. Hawaii. B. Ohio. C. Rhode Island. Or D. Montana.
Oh, my God.
If you'd like to join the Therapy Producers, go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up.
Oh, my gosh. What?
I was hoping you were going to say which U.S. state flag is the only flag that has a representation of an extinct animal on it.
Oh, buffalo? Would it be a South Dakota flag or
No,
something?
no.
Is it a buffalo, though?
It is California.
The bear
The California golden bear.
is
That's
extinct.
that specific bear, yeah.
Oh, wow. How about that? Okay, so there's a flag that's not a square.
All flags are not squares.
Yeah.
Oh.
But there's also a flag that is not a rectangle.
Right.
Huh.
I'm going to guess Rhode Island.
Yeah, that feels
So you're
right.
going C, Rhode Island?
I'm going C, Rhode Island.
I feel like Montana has to be square because
Okay.
Montana's a
none
big
of them are square.
Square is not an option.
I'm going to go with Hawaii.
I think it's cubed.
I believe the
Just a
flag of
big
Hawaii is a
Yeah.
necklace of flowers. So I'm going with Hawaii.
You're
Okay.
going with Hawaii,
Mhm.
and you're going with Rhode
I'm
Island.
going with Rhode Island.
The answer is Ohio.
Oh, shit.
That was my second. That was
What?
my second guess.
I didn't
Yes.
see that coming.
Ohio.
There you go. What is the shape?
It's kind of like it kind of comes down to like almost a point, but then has like a little inlet thing.
Huh.
So it's kind of
So it's kind of like a pennant.
yeah, kind of like
Weird.
it's like a pennant, except if you cut a little thing in it, like a little zigzag.
All
It's
right.
kind of a-
What?
yeah.
Ohio has
Oh,
like
Ohio
a cool,
flag.
spunky looking flag?
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Weird.
Now that I
Yeah,
see
I
it,
would
yeah.
not have thought about that.
yeah, it's kind of a reverse pennant.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I do remember that. I mean, I should have known that. I did live in Ohio for a short period.
You
of time.
lived in Ohio?
for a short period of time. Yeah.
Which place?
Chillicothe.
That's not real.
Fine.
I'm calling
Fine.
bullshit. That's 0%.
I believe
I
the
don't wanna fight
Shawnee
about it.
Nation would disagree with you.
Oh, wait a minute.
There you go.
I'd like to retract my answer and apologize
You
to the
racist.
noble people. Yes. Yes.
We're gonna get letters now.
You know what? That wouldn't have happened if Sydney would have come on the show because I tried to get her to take your seat whenever you were
yeah,
gone.
she was out of town.
Then we would have been under proper supervision and everything would have been fine. But she wouldn't
It's
do
funny
it.
that you think that with Sydney here, everything would have been properly supervised.
I would have behaved.
I can take this show off the rails.
Oh,
with
yeah.
anyone in the room.
This is true. This is true. I would have been on much better behavior if Sydney was here. I'm like, oh shit, there's a
Probably.
colleague. I can't be a dumbass. So yeah. And my nurse practitioner fell through. So anyway, whatever. Feeling lonely and isolated. Hey guys.
Ohio.
Ohio. Hey guys, hope you are doing well today. I've been listening for a couple of months now and I absolutely love the show. It always brings a smile to my face whenever I listen, so thank you for putting out such great content. So
Could have
recently,
ended that sentence earlier.
yeah, let's just end it there.
Just putting out.
We do. So recently, I've been feeling a lot more lonely these past few months, and I'm unsure what to do about it. It started when I had left a job that I loved in a field that I enjoyed, where I had a great crew to work with. We were basically a little family there. Unfortunately, the company was purchased by another bigger corporation, and everything went downhill, and everyone started leaving, which I ended up doing as well. I then took another job in the same field with a different company, but was laid off in only 3 weeks. It's a long story, but my boss there was kind of a jerk and basically wanted my life and purpose to revolve around that job, and I just couldn't give up that much of myself. Fast forward to now, I'm currently working in a totally different field, in a factory where I work alone for 10 hours a day, doing something I'm not passionate about. I had to take this job just because it was the quickest and best paying thing I could get in order to pay for rent and food. But since taking it, I feel a lot more isolated, and honestly, I've been feeling more depressed lately because of it. I've been skipping out on working out some days and would rather sit on the couch and get high. With legal substances, of course. Most of my friends have moved away to bigger cities to go to university, and the friends I have in my hometown are either married, have kids, or have grown apart from me entirely. I'm single, and I live by myself as well, and that plays a huge part in this too. I don't even bother in dating anymore, because I feel like it's not worth the headache. I think I ended up here because I grew up with parents who argued and yelled almost every day. So I'd rather take loneliness and peace over drama, but I'm getting to a point where the loneliness is taking a toll on other aspects of my life. I still live in my hometown where my family lives, but there really isn't anything to do here, and most of the population is older retired people. So I'm wondering if I should move to a bigger city to connect with younger people and find my tribe. I'm 22 and have no debt or kids, and I'm single, so it's definitely possible. Or is there a way to make things better while I'm still in my hometown? Or should I just say screw it and build out a van and travel the country and become one of those van hippies? Or a school bus rider, that would also be a good idea. Would love your expertise and advice on this topic. Thank you very much. Pronouns are he and him. Anonymous.
All right, I'm kind
Live
of
in a van.
I'm kind of on
down by
the
the
side
river.
of the van hippie life.
Team van.
Yeah,
But
team
let's
van
talk this
life.
out. Let's talk
All
this
right,
out.
yeah, you're
I
right.
don't see why.
Let's go with. Let's
I don't
not
know
go
why
with
we
the
need to
first
discuss it
instinct.
anymore. Van.
I'm just
Van.
saying. I think. Yeah, I don't want them to stop listening and
All
just
right.
like, okay, I got my answer.
First
That's all I
off,
want.
if
Van.
you guys had to build out a van, do we all agree the one you pick is that big ass one with those wood panels on the side? You know what I'm talking about? Basically the A-Team van. That's what I'm picking as
Oh,
my-
you're thinking like a cargo van.
Yes. Yeah. With like the big like open French doors.
I mean,
on
if
the
you
back.
do a big cargo van, it's already pretty much stripped out inside.
That's what's
so you've
up.
got kind of an open canvas to start with.
Yeah. Or you go with the Scooby-Doo van. You know, the Mystery Machine.
Dude, I was at the is it the Barrett Jackson? Or is it Jackson Barrett? I always get those two mixed
I think
up.
it's Jackson Barrett.
The Jackson Barrett.
I
Yeah,
have no
car
idea
auction.
who that is, but it feels
in
right. Okay.
Vegas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
Okay.
that was there.
Oh, the
They-
Scooby-Doo
they
van?
had
Oh,
somebody
cool.
somebody made
They had a replica of
a
that,
replica
yeah.
of that. They also had shacks.
The real one doesn't exist because it was a cartoon.
Oh,
True.
damn
Yeah.
it. Okay.
They
The
also had
original was
Shaq's
gone.
minivan was there.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that
yeah,
feels right.
yeah.
I like that.
Anyway,
Van.
So, Mystery Machine, A-Team van, and one other famous van. Can anybody think of another one? A Mystery Machine.
Just a
A-Team.
van?
Got to have another famous van from some kind of show
I'm really struggling.
or content. Boy, there's not a lot of famous vans.
No, there's
No.
really not.
I mean,
There's the van in Back to the Future where the,
the
Libyans,
Iranians or Libyans.
the Libyans shoot Doc Brown
Libyan
from.
terrorists.
okay.
Yep.
That's right.
All right.
The Libyan
So,
terrorist van. from
Okay,
Back to
Libyan
the
so we've got our
terrorist
three.
van. Yeah. Libyan terrorist van, Mystery Machine, A-Team van. You got to fuck one, marry one, kill one, go.
Fuck the Libyans.
Yeah,
Sure.
easily.
I
That's
think
some
you
hot
you
sex
got it
right there.
And then you
I think you marry the
marry.
A-Team.
Oh, I was gonna say no. Marry the
You
mystery
marry
machine.
Scooby Doo. Yeah, I'd marry
Oh,
the
no.
Mystery Machine.
Yeah.
That's really more of a domestic van. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
van you raise your kids in.
Yeah.
You know, clearly they have a dog in there, so I feel like it's really built more for families. 18.
Oh,
van,
there's the
you kill
there's
that
the
one.
dog van from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
never mind.
yes.
Screw the Libyan van. Let's keep dog van.
Which the
Yeah.
myth is? Do you know the myth about that van?
No.
The myth is that and I don't know if this is true or not, but the myth is that van, all the dog stuff, is made from Falcor from the Neverending Story.
Oh,
that they
I hope it
cannibalized
is.
the Falcor puppet
Oh, that would be great.
that was in the scene shop to make
I
that
hope
van.
so. Pop quiz. What
interesting.
was the name of their pet store called?
We got worms.
Yep.
Oh.
What was the name of the bird that Haley Joel Osment's the head fell off the bird?
Petey,
Petey. Petey's head
Wow.
fell off. Man, good memory. All right.
Harry, I took care of it.
Okay. Pretty bird. Pretty bird.
That's all the time we got.
Yeah. Good
Um,
question. I think we're all in unison. I don't think there's a lot of
Now
debate
here's the
here.
thing.
You do the van life.
Here's the thing. Okay, all things serious.
Van.
I did
Van.
spend a week back in my hometown.
Okay.
Okay.
How
And
many
again,
stars would
like,
you give it?
I'd give it a point.
Okay. So about the same stars as Dr. Spiegel has.
No, a point of 1 star.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
we're
one
talking
one corner of one
You
star.
were
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
in your hometown for a week.
A week.
Now it sounds like you were ready to come back when you came back.
I was ready to come back.
Were you ready to come back before you came back? What day
Yeah, I
were you
think
ready
so.
to come
I
back?
think so. I think so.
How
You
Yeah.
were
many
there-
4-inch
you were there
nails
for
into this
7
door?
days. What day would you? If you had just been like free and clear, I could do anything I
Pre-sunburn?
want.
Honestly, about a week was good.
Okay.
But I also had a lot of stuff keeping me busy.
You had,
Yeah.
you had work.
But I had this thought. I did honestly have this thought of what would it be like if I moved back?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just to play that thought.
You could move
Okay.
back and install doors in people's homes.
yeah.
Right, for
I
a
could get
living,
really
for a
good
living.
at this.
Yeah.
Power wash everybody in the neighborhood.
I've done one, so I'm kind of an expert.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking about that because like it's a town of fewer than 2,000 people.
Right.
Boy.
A majority of the population, like the writer,
Yeah.
is, I wouldn't say elderly, but they're up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Very
Not hip young 40-year-olds
no,
like you.
I do have a lot of classmates that still live there, but again, they all have kids.
Yeah.
And if I did move back, I probably wouldn't be hanging out with a lot of them because I didn't really hang out with a lot of them when I was in
Sure.
school.
Sure.
Like the people who I hung out with don't live there anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would I do the majority of the time. And I think it would get very lonely.
I surprise myself the times that I've gone back to my hometown, like for over a decade ago now. I went to my 10-year high school reunion, things like that, and ended up hanging out with quite a few people that I did not hang out with in high school.
Yeah.
And we didn't have things in common then. We do now.
Yes, exactly. And I had that experience too. And I don't not like anybody that I graduated with. I actually probably like them more now than I did in high school. But we also don't have a whole lot in common now. And then I think the kid thing
They,
makes
for
a
instance,
huge...
know how to hang doors.
Actually, they probably all do. But like the kid thing is a big deal too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I never see Jim.
Yeah.
Like I
that's
see
true.
him 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
Right.
I have shit to
He's
do.
got
I have
kids.
kids. Yeah.
Right.
Like, but like, you're 22 years old. Like, I think this is a great time. And if you don't have any debt, like
Man,
to be able to,
get a
even if
van.
it's not,
Get a big ass Chevy van. Just do it.
even if you don't get a van. Okay. So my old boss that I had in college, he lived in Texas for a while. And he told me, probably the best advice he's ever given me, he said, move out of state. Because you can always move back.
Yep.
But then if you do, you're living here by choice, not by convenience.
Yeah.
Right. Not because you have.
I really think writer. What was the writer's name?
Anonymous.
Anonymous. He, him. Great. All right, dude.
Van guy. I think his name's Van. I think we all agree his name is Van.
I think whatever it is, if it's Van or if it's just moving somewhere else, I think you need a change.
Yeah.
That's what your letter screams to me is like, change the script.
Yep.
Flip it around. Let's mix it up. I think
Yup.
this is more than, if it were me, I think this is more than start doing more outside activities.
Yeah. I agree.
Because when you started, that's where my mind was like, oh, you got to get outdoors. You
Play
got
some b-ball.
You gotta do something outdoors. You gotta do something a little more social. Maybe get on Jim's fucking find a friend app where you find the people who have it.
meetup.com.
Yeah. One of those
Sponsor
things.
the show, Meetup.
They really should. And that's where my mind went immediately when you started. And then the more I heard it, the more I was like, no.
Nah.
This guy needs to go do something.
Yep.
You're 22.
Yep.
You don't have debt.
Nope.
You don't have roots.
You hate your job.
You don't have anything tying you there.
Yup.
Man,
You're not dating. You're not feeling it. You're getting high and sitting on the couch in your hometown. You're 22 years old. Get your ass on a plane.
If you're worried about living, which I don't know what your financial situation is or anything like that, put the word out on social media. Hey, I'm looking to move somewhere.
Yep.
I'm looking for a change.
Yep.
Anybody have a job lead for me?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
22, you're going to find whatever.
Yeah.
And you're going to go on an adventure.
And I don't even think you need to move to a big city. You asked that in your letter. I don't think you necessarily have to move to a big city. If you want to move to a city, great. Move to a city.
Right.
But I don't think that has to be a limiting factor for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd just go somewhere.
Right.
If it's another town that's exactly the size of your town, it's the same demographic, the same makeup, the same everything, who cares?
Right.
It's not your town.
Yep.
It's somewhere different.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and getting to experience a different culture.
Yeah.
Getting outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it's scary to do that. Like, it's scary to just move by yourself.
Like
But-
my niece is about to go to graduate school. She's graduating college in the state that she grew up in, and she's about to go to graduate school on the other side of the country from where she grew up. And I am thrilled to pieces about that.
Oh, absolutely.
I say, and she went from small town to pretty big city just to go to college. I said, now you're going to go somewhere and you're going to get a whole different point of view.
Yep.
You're going to come out of grad school now with a whole different set of skills, a whole different set of life experiences. And she's your age. I mean, she's 22.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're going to go somewhere. Actually, she might be 21. I don't know how old my niece is. She's almost 22. She'll be 22 by the time this episode comes out, now that I'm thinking about it. And, so you're going to have a whole new set of life experiences to draw from. And it's like Nick says, if you want to move back, you move back.
Yeah, you're not going to lose a lot.
Who cares?
It's not like you're going to be set back in your career. You don't even like your job.
Yeah.
So what are you missing out on? Which generally I do not like what Nick and I have often called the geographic cure, right? There's a lot of humans out there that go, man, my life feels stuck. I feel like I'm struggling, like I got depression, or we've had a lot of substance abuse. We're like, man, I've really been struggling with my alcohol use, or I'm smoking too much. And they go, you know what I need? I need a big, fat, hairy change. I'm just going to move to Brazil, because I hate red, white, and blue on my flags, and I want a big yellow and blue eyeball, and that's what I believe in. And so, like, we usually
Still
will
white and
caution
blue.
people, whatever. We usually sit them down and go, hey, love your energy, love that you're willing to change everything. Let's harness that energy, and let's proportionately deal with things right in front of us, because a lot of people have this vision of the geographic cure that all they have to do is move, and the problems will not follow them. So usually, when Nick and I hear this kind of solution being thrown out there, we usually tap the brakes, and we start trying to get you to look at more relative proximity-based solutions. But in this one, this is one of the rare times that I'm on team Van. I'm on fucking Van. I think he should do it. I think you go down to the.
Did he say
local,
where he is now?
Doesn't matter. They have vans there.
Oh, no, I'm just wondering.
There's always a van. There's a van.
I'm not worried
within
about the
5 minutes of this
availability
guy.
of vans.
Oh,
They're
wait,
there.
guys, it says here he's in Libya.
Oh, there it is. Terrorist van, the
They've got
sexiest
great
one.
vans. They've got vans with those flip-up doors on the top.
Yeah, the sunroof. Yeah. You got to have the sunroof van. So it's interesting because we have a listener of the show, friend of the show, who we saw during Scoop Fest, Scoops or not, who fitted
Van
a
life.
school bus. Yeah, got a used school bus or stole it. I'm not here to judge.
She got it.
She got it. We're not here to ask questions about
Yeah.
why. We sign non-disclosure forms. She had an entire Twitter feed of just watching her renovate this bus. She put in an oven and beds and a kitchen and a living room, and it is decked out, and her dog drove across the country, went to Scoop Fest, and when I saw her at Scoop Fest, I was like, so what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm just living this life now.
Yeah.
I live the bus life.
I recommend, this is, I've not done either of these.
Yeah.
I recommend van over school bus.
School bus, pretty big commitment.
School bus is,
I think her top speed is 25 miles per hour, by the way.
it's going to be a lot slower. It's going to be a lot harder to drive.
Yeah.
It's also going to be less access.
Yes.
Because like a van,
Oh, yeah.
you can get into a parking garage in a van.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. You can't just pull into any parking garage
Right.
with your bus. Probably not. So I am probably my first vote is probably for geographic change, starting a new life at 22, move out of your hometown, take a new job. You're miserable at your
Also,
job.
at 22, if
You're
you go do
lonely.
something for 2 years,
You come
and
back, you're
decide-
24.
Yeah, you're still 24.
You're still a baby. You know,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want. You can still live the van life at 24.
Yeah, at 24, you might
Yeah.
decide I didn't go crazy enough.
That's right. I'm getting
I
closer
think-
to 44, and I think the van life's on the table. I think it's still there.
The van life is on the table for a long time.
It's always there.
Yeah.
You know what? That's your
I
last
tell
option.
you, van life for me for like 6 months is on the table.
Yeah.
Like that might happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it's always there. If you the van
Like if
life
this show suddenly
is-
just stops,
yes,
it's not a
Van life.
non-zero. There's a non-zero possibility that Jacob just decided to go live in a van
wait
for
a
6
minute.
months.
This means we're not invited into the van. We can't just set up a little recording studio in the van.
Absolutely not. You're definitely not invited to the van.
Wow.
You
All
come
right.
hang out
In the van, right?
like in a parking lot.
In the van.
In a parking lot, you
Can
can
we all
look at
hang
the
out in
van.
the van? We could all
It's
like,
just a van, Jim. There's not that much room.
well, yeah, there is if you make room.
No, I
Come
know.
on, man. You know, look.
We
the
don't
van
need
life,
much room.
It's definitely not as appealing as it was about 30 seconds ago. Now that I realize you cannot host company or the podcast might end, I disagree with it. So listen, Eddie, what I think you need to do is you need to, nobody's going to ask why I named this guy Eddie.
Nope.
Nope. We
Eddie
don't care.
Van Halen, right?
No,
you guys have
we
heard
didn't-
that guy.
We didn't ask because we knew it
He's a
wasn't going to be
guitarist or something. He plays music somewhere. Anyway, that's what we're thinking. We think that you should geographically cure this, and that is probably going to be the way that you fix it, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, you're young. There's just, yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. Just, even if it's not the van, I don't know, for me, still feels risky, but,
Oh, of course it is. It's a huge risk.
but yeah, I mean, plus think of like, what a great time to go as far as jobs. Like,
Yes. Try new things.
everybody's trying to hire people.
Get on
so
the internet.
yeah,
Try new
this
things.
is a
You're
great time for that to
22.
happen.
We're saying get into the buying and selling vans trade.
Yep.
You'll be happier.
Yep.
We are at the end of the show, thank God, and we want to thank all of you who support us as we get into our summertime. Remember, there's a lot of perks at patreon.com/therapy. Not only do you get all the bonus stuff every show of our hangout, you also get access to our Discord, which we are actually on and chatting all the time, and you can get to know us on a more personal level. We even do video chats on there and happy hours and coffee mornings where we just hang out and talk about our pets and play games. So come hang out with us at patreon.com/therapy. If you're already a Patreon, remember that a lot of commentary of the episodes is now on the Discord, but some folks are still chatting on the Patreon, so that's fun times. And of course, we have lots of deep dives and random extra material that finds its way to the Patreon, so always a good time. We have some new Therapals, Nick. Who has joined the Theraparty?
We've got Timothy DiRocco.
Woo!
Joe's on Joe 93.
Feels right.
And Andreas.
And it is the first week of the new month in which we thank everybody that supports us at the Therapod level and higher. We talking about some new Therapods in the mix, like Lee Popsicle, nice, and Karen McCullough, and all the other Therapods like Kate Keller, Scoopstronaut, who drives a bus, Corey Owens, Linda Brandmeier, Brad Kiefaver, Christine Phillips, Joseph Pangrazio, Tracy Raplogel, Gavin Bristow, Carrie Terhark, Stacy Westerlin, Richard Bruin, Scoopy Jess, Ian Whitefall, Chelsea Saracen, Craig Little, Curtis Kiwi Scoop, Hanlon, James K., Katie Chiwakowski, Don Dorr, Jim Hunter, Adam Rabiznik, Brooks Lyle, Okie Scoop, Matthew Nair, Three Scoops a Lady, Todd Canfield, David Sorensen, Felicia Butler, Shayla Bullock, Scoopatron, Lauren Izzo in the Hizzo, Stacy Coleman, I Have the Knack, Adam Pettinuzzo, LB Shreve, Mats Lenegren, Scoop in a stupid ass way, also the moderator of our Discord channel, Take It EV Podcast, Sustainable Transportation for All, Ulrika, Ian Soto, Jessica Cyphers, Andrew Langmead, Charlie Quinn Starling, Natalie MC, That Josh Guy, Kerna Pillar, Dr. Scoop Little, Mama Ninja Scoop, James Dawson, Colson Morrow, Jacob Harrington, Sean Daughtry, Amanda H., Grumpy Lake Meat Park Ranger, Sarah Olo, John Hanfelder, Kiana Sambuck, Karen McCulloch, there she is, Megan Smith, Musa, Scoopnado Bait, Kate with an I, Chris Scoot the Scoopless, What Weekend, Lee Popsicle, Michael Madinat, Some Nobody, Ethan Leave, nailed it, Leela, Ginger G, Lovely Spark, Nippy, Ash Cartwright, Alec Lancaster, and Angela.
And we have a new pterodactyl.
Woo, who is it?
Lori Eltroff.
Lori!
Hey, Lori.
Yay, Lori! Thank you, Lori.
And we want to thank all of our pterodactyls: Ice Blue Scoop, Brian Lehman, Scott Brady, Fred Bashara Jr., Andrea Anderson, Lindsay Bashara, Robert Paulson, Slurpikaye Motherfucker, Frozen Cusser, Lori Eltroff, Angie Ellis, Ryan Stewart, Scott Ashlock, Robert Ward, Chris, Sandra McWaffle, Cy Schnonigan.
Nope. Shonigan, but nice
God
try.
damn it.
I know.
Anyway, Not a Scoop, Solo Cody, Stephen L. Proctor, Dank Butter, Myra the Ameriscott Scoop, and Samantha Cone.
Samantha Cone. Nice try. And we
What'd I
have
say?
a new
Samantha?
I have no idea.
Oh,
why I
I
do things.
yeah, sorry.
And we have a new Theraproducer, a new boss. Welcome, Tess Miller. Very active on our Discord, by the way, which you will get access to if you are a Patreon. And of course, we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Theraproducers. Thank you, Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Kayla Lansbury, Judy Schneider, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, King of Student Loan Debt, Dr. Ben Don, Crazy Banana Scoop, Mason Miller, Carolyn Albert, Leon Kassab, our lawyer, Kevin Chamberlain, Malia. Ooh, she sent us a great email, by the way, with a lot of great podcast resources.
yeah, I did see that. We need
That's
to get,
exciting.
Yes.
There's a virtual conference she's going to try to get us into. Thank
Right
you,
on.
Malia. Richard Macy, Cindy Ash, Newstick, Lord Colin Stewart, Dirty B, Ben Stanley, Sammy Scoop, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Byler T, University Jeff, and our newest, Tess Miller.
And if you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
I'm Jim Jobin.
That's all the time that we've got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social podcast. Thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. Boy, do we appreciate it. Hey, remember, Pod Therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share the episode with someone who needs it. Open up the episode subscription in your podcast app and copy and paste the link we provided into your social media. Don't forget, you can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy, on Twitter at PodTherapyGuys, on Instagram at PodTherapyGuys, and at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm fucking that Livian van.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
That uranium, baby. And Jacob is wiggling around a stuffed banana. I like it. There's another one over here, too. A lot of banana hammocks running around here. It's weird when you do that. That makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that. No, I don't like that.
You don't like me swinging a banana over my head?
No. The part where you just
Lasso
drape
style?
it over.